everyone, and thank you for joining me, Dr. Scarlett Smash, on my podcast, Dancing in Pink Hiking Boots. We are here on this glorious day to talk about our thoughts, feelings, ideas on different life topics, and the emotions we feel as we go through life. I believe in the power of sharing for inner peace. We all need friends, support groups, and a community. We need help in how to be mindful of our thoughts and feelings. I am not a licensed therapist. I'm a marine conservation outreach scientist that has a lot of opinions, experiences, and has been on a lifetime journey to find a peaceful mind and happiness. I believe in the power of thought, deep reflection, and vulnerability. I will share my thoughts, feelings, experiences, and my soul-searching journeys with you. Today, we're going to be talking about mindful conservation and what that means to my guest, Dr. Chris Parsons. He is a marine conservation scientist. He's exceptional, and he's done so much in our marine conservation community, and he is inspirational, and that's why we have him on this wonderful episode. So thank you so much, Dr. Chris Parsons, for being on the show. I do appreciate it. How are you today?
Oh, I'm good today. It's a lovely sunny day outside, and I'm inside doing a podcast. I wish we could kind of record outside.
I know, me too. Today. Wouldn't that be great if we had birds singing and everything like that? Well, again, thank you for being inside with me. But we're going to talk about what is mindful conservation, how it is taking care of ourselves as we take care of the environment, as we take care of our conservation community. And it's taking in what mindfulness is, which is training our mind to be in the present moment, because our mind actually wanders off a lot into thoughts. And studies have shown that our minds actually wander off about 47% of the time.
I'd say it's probably more like 80%.
Probably yours, yeah. Most definitely. I would have to say for yours, yes, because you are constantly in thought. So it's taking this idea of being very thoughtful and mindful in what we do, our actions. But let's really think about why it's so great to be involved in mindful conservation as a conservation scientist or a conservation science citizen of the world.
Well, I suppose what I should do is probably start from the very beginning as to why I'm doing conservation in the first place, because that's sort of value sort of gives us the groundwork to talk on. So when I was a kid, I grew up in a very industrial town from a very poor family. My dad worked in a factory, and we weren't very well off. Sometimes Christmas, we wouldn't really have Christmas presents and things like that. I thought that other kids got Christmas presents that were carved out of wood and made from cardboard boxes stuck together with duct tape, but wasn't until much later on I find that was unusual. But we always used to go off and do camping holidays in the summer on the coast of the UK in southwest England, and I just loved that because it was being part of nature. I would go and sit on the cliff tops and watch the ocean and look at the seabirds and go playing around in the rock pools. But very often I knew kind of then that I wanted to be a marine biologist. I was really interested in science, even from a very early age. I used to watch lots of science documentaries on TV. And I would take a science book and try and learn about science while actually being in nature, hearing the sounds of birds, feeling the warmth of the sun on my face. Although this is the UK, so sometimes it was a light drizzle. But, sort of actually being in nature and part of nature, and realizing that this is something that we kind of have a responsibility to protect and conserve. And so the other part of the values that I have is that one day at the sort of the end of my days, as I'm hopefully in a bed surrounded by friends and family, and to realize that I'm leaving the world having made it a better place. Tried to make a difference, I mean, at the moment, it's a little bit like we're trying to slow down the amount of environmental degradation, and hoping that soon in the near future, there'll be governments and so on who will be more caring about the environment, and then we can make a big difference. At the moment, it's a little bit like we're trying to put our finger in the dike. But nonetheless, at the end of the day, having felt that I've made a difference somehow, and that my ledger has got more positives in than negatives. So that's my sort of ethos for being in conservation as a whole. And
it's a beautiful story.
And in terms of sort of the importance of mindful conservation, as I sort of allude to, at the moment we feel like there are so many issues and threats that are just kind of threatening to wash over us and smother us, and we're trying to push the seas back, a little bit like King Canute, trying to keep the tides back. How to keep going, even though those sorts of things are happening. How to keep positive when you feel that you really can do something, you can achieve something, you have so much care about the environment that you really want to make a difference, you really want to help the environment, but the opportunities are just not sort of presenting themselves. How do you keep yourself going and motivated when you keep coming up against brick walls?
And that's so hard for scientists and conservation scientists and even citizen scientists that worry so much and do their part for our environment.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, for every success you have, you often don't see all the failures. And what you have to do is take the failures and analyze them and learn from them, and take that as building material for doing your next attempt for conservation. That's a key thing. In science, you are often building on little successes, but very often it's little failures. So you try an experiment, it doesn't work. So you try something different, that doesn't work. You try something different again, still doesn't work. But eventually you find the thing that does work, and it progresses science. So conservation and environmental issues is very similar to that as well. You might actually be doing science yourself, but you might also be trying to do a communications campaign to get a local community to be more environmentally motivated, or to pass a law or a piece of legislation.
Yes, I feel like our hands are in every single bucket.
Yeah,
we're constantly thinking multiple things, which can be very stressful.
Yes, you may have multiple balls up in the air at the same time, so you have to try and keep focused with all these balls in the air. And if one of them drops, or in fact all of them drop, don't give up and pick those balls up again, and try to keep juggling and try to keep juggling. So I think that is part of it, keeping going, and particularly looking after yourself when you get failure after failure after failure after failure. As I said, it's a scientific method. If you're a scientist and you're producing papers, usually on average, you probably get 3 to 6 rejections for each successful paper that goes through out
yes,
being rejected.
Exactly.
So there is a lot of rejection if you're applying for jobs. You may apply for, just recently, I applied for over 500 jobs before one actually came through.
Right.
So there is a lot of rejection. So how do you keep going
after all these challenges?
With all these challenges
exactly.
through